Hey everyone, Kaz here from Two Book Watch Knobs with a video on the Slava Medical Mechanical Pulsemeter. Very cool Soviet vintage timepiece. For those of you who listen to the Two Book Watch Knobs podcast, or for those of you who follow us on Instagram at Two Book Watch Knobs, you will know that this is my grail watch. This is a watch that I've wanted ever since I started getting into not just vintage Soviet timepieces, just watch collecting in general. It's funny actually, when I got into collecting watches, this watch captured my heart, but it took me a very, very long time to actually get. I was lucky enough to have the stars align to find this piece a few months ago, from the time of me recording this, October 2018. Got this a few months ago. They don't come up on eBay very often, or any of the other sort of, watch auction sites. Maybe one or two properly priced authentic examples a year will show up. Was lucky enough to have the stars align for me to snag this, the right place, right time. Worked out a fair price with the seller, and honored to have it in my collection. This is one of the first Soviet pieces I fell in love with. The other Soviet piece I fell in love with when I started collecting, I have here, was this guy. the very popular Raketa Big Zero. But I got this very early on in my watch collecting career. So for the time to have passed for me to be able to add both of these in my collection, there's a pretty big gap relatively for my watch collecting time, but just totally honored to have them both here. Actually, this is funny. There's a small side tangent. People ask all the time how they can tell a fake Big Zero from a real Big Zero. Most fake Big Zeros will have a printed dial, so the dial will get just printed on paper. Real Big Zeros have applied markers, and you can just tell by how the light is hitting it that the markers here are applied. Hard to tell in photographs when you look on listings though, but look for ink bleed, look for this text to be thicker than normal. Those are the typical signs. I'll do a proper video on the Big Zero, but for now, bam, this video is about the very cool Slava Medical Mechanical Pulsemeter. I'm doing this video to talk about the pulsemeter scale. I get a lot of questions about the pulsemeter scale. What is it? How does it work? So on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you how it works. I'm going to show you how it works by using it on myself, so you get to see my dumb ass try and take my own pulse, which I'm sure will be very interesting. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the movement in here, the Slava 2428. So pulse meters aren't necessarily the most popular dial scale option that are out there. Most dial scales you're going to see these days are they going to be tachometers, which tachometers measure speed, or you're going to see, I have one here, another Soviet timepiece, funny enough. You're going to see a tachometer, or you're going to see telemeter or telemeter, however you say it. Culinary, it's all good. So telemeter, like on the Polyshop 3133, another very cool Soviet vintage timepiece. Telemeters measure distances from one place to another, or from your relative point to another event's away where you're not. Telemeters measure distance. Tachometers, which I don't have with me, measure speed. Pulse meters measure pulses, measure heartbeats. That's the idea. The idea is that you use this scale to determine heartbeats, pulses per minute. So as you just noticed on the Polyshop 3133, telemeter scale, chronograph. Most tachometers I've seen are also chronographs. Most pulse meters I also see are also chronographs. This is not. I'll explain why you want a chronograph with any type of dial scale. You want to be able to hit the button and have the second hand reset right back to the starting position, because that's how you read the scale. You read the scale from the starting point here. So in this case, with the Slava Medical, it's at the top of this arrow. The second hand has to go and do its trajectory around here. If you try reading it from here, or if you try reading it from there, no bueno, it's not going to work. So it's got to be from the top here. Obviously, this is not a chronograph. There is no, well, okay, I should clarify. There is a button there, and people do ask me about this as well. There is a button here. This button controls the date at the bottom. This is the one directional, get my nail in there, quick set date. And that's it. That's what the button is. That's all it does. It doesn't control the death ray, as it should. it just rotates the numbers down there. The top part, the actual day, abbreviates to Cyrillic, which is the other really fun kind of quirky part about this watch. You gotta actually, you know, move the hands around to have that change. Actually, I can just do it for you guys right now since we're here. This is our time. It's just me and you guys. No one else is gonna see this. Getting close to the snake drinking martini, and bam, that's so nice. So that's what the button is. Like I said before, on any type of watch that has a dial scale on there, you want the ability to, take this off screen for a second, you want the ability to hit a button and immediately have that second hand reset to where it needs to go, so you can read the scale. This does not have that functionality because at the time, chronograph movements weren't really. This was the main chronograph movement that existed at the time. This is the Poljot 3133, and it was mainly for military use. So what they did, the Soviets did, to sort of solve that issue is this is not one pulse meter scale. It's two scales. That's one completely independent scale. That's another completely independent scale. And the reason they did that was so if you had to take someone's pulse and let's say the second hand was here, you didn't have to wait all the way for this thing to go back around to start, because by that point the person would probably bleed out and die. Like you do. Instead of having to wait all this time for it to go around, if it was here, you'd only have to wait a handful of seconds, and then you could use the second pulse meter scale to start. So you can start the pulse meter scale from 12 or from 6. And basically what you do is at 12 or at 6, you count 15 beats as this goes. Not beats on the watch, I should clarify. Pulses. You have to somehow find your own. I can't do it on my wrist. I'm going to have to do it on my neck in a second. You count your pulses as this thing is going, and once you reach 15 pulses, wherever the little lollipop second hand is on the scale, that is your pulses per minute. So let's say I counted 15 seconds and somehow it ended up over here at 130 pulses per minute. That would basically mean I was either masturbating or on speed, because I'm pretty sure that's like pretty above what's normal for like a normal heart rate. I'm not sure. I know some medical folks listen to the show and watch the YouTube, so y'all can chime in and let me know about that. But my understanding is that normal heart rate is supposed to be, I guess, somewhere like in the 70, 80 area. That's like normal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, see, I was talking, I missed it. If it's a chronograph, I could just press the button and just push, or just push in this case. I'm going to wait for this to get back to 30. Can I find my pulse on my wrist while I'm talking? Oh shit, I actually might have found it. 1, 2, okay. I'm going to see if I can hold it, if I can maintain my pulse control. And when the second hand gets to 6, I'm going to count 15 pulses. And then we're going to figure out my pulse rate here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, that's kind of fast. That's 90. That's 90 beats per minute. I'm going to take it on my neck also. So I'm going to read it again, but this time from the 12 o'clock position. So let's see if I can do this here. Oh yeah. Getting ready to count, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, pretty consistently, 90 beats per minute. I think that's kind of high, probably because I'm recording and, I just want to make sure I get all the information here that I need to get in a time. So that's basically how you use the scale. How you use the scale on this watch also, just because, like I said, it's 2 scales. Super, super cool. I did write them down in case it's easier, because I don't know if you're like me, sometimes it's easier to see things written down. So, to use the pulse meter scale, you can either start from 15, there you go, from 12 or 6, and then you count 15 pulses. Let me do this actually, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Get some context. Start from 12 or 6, count 15 pulses. Wherever the second hand points after 15 pulses, that's your pulse rate per minute. And then third step, profit. I can't write a list without ending in a profit. I'm not sure why. So I got the case back off here just to show you guys the Slava 2428 movement. So if you're if you're familiar with movements, if you see them all the time, you probably did the same thing that I did when I first saw this movement, and you said, where the hell is the main barrel mainspring? Where's the mainspring? You're looking at them. 1, 2. There's 2 springs of equal length within the Slava 2428. I've seen some other multi-spring watches. The idea, I've seen ones where one spring is bigger than the other one. I've seen other ones where it's of equal length of this across 2 springs. The power reserve isn't any different. I mean, the power reserve on this is probably anywhere between 30 and 40 yards. I should have checked, but I'm not too sure. But it's not. I've seen other multi-spring watches where it's something like 180 hours or something like that. No, there's 2 springs in here. My understanding is because it's a functional purpose. The idea is that the power distribution across 2 springs, as power releases and goes through the watch, it releases more consistently going through 2 springs, which would be pretty important for a watch that you need to take someone's pulse on. Obviously, the 2428 movement existed before the Slava Medical Pulsemeter, but I just thought it was an interesting choice of movement to put in this watch, and it has a pretty interesting, obviously you guys can't feel it when I do it here, but it has a pretty interesting winding profile. There's an odd sort of consistent tension through there. It's also just fun watching this thing wind up. But yeah, I'm gonna get the case back on and do a closing wrist shot on the wrists, and looking really good. Just want to thank everyone for taking the time to check out this video. Hope everyone really appreciates in the same way I do how cool this watch is, how fun it is to just read one of these pulse meter scales. As we discovered, there are 2, and there's a snake drinking a martini glass. It's called something technically. I forgot what it is, but to me, it's a snake drinking out of a martini glass. Or yeah, not the martini glass. But yeah, really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you so much also to everyone that's been with me on this journey to get this watch. This has been a huge milestone in my watch collecting just journey, and so many of you were there for when I missed out on getting this piece, when I got close, and then when I obviously ended up buying it. And so huge thank you to everyone that's tuned in to Two Broke Watch Snobs podcast. If you haven't listened to the podcast yet, go and check it out, twobrokeWatchSnobs.com. All of our podcast episodes are there. Also, we do watch reviews, and we do a lot of really fun content and articles and write-ups from people who listen to the show. So go and check out twobrokeWatchSnobs.com. Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel for more fun videos. We'll be doing watch reviews, be doing just kind of fun highlight videos. I need to do a video on this, as I was saying before, on the Polyot 3133, or Polyot, if you will. There you go, second hand's in the way. Also need to do a video on the Roketa Big Zero. But these are things to come. For now, I will leave you with one final wrist shot. Take care, everyone. Cass from Two Broke Watch Snobs. Later.